Our next guest weighed over 20 stone when he started his weight loss journey. But after becoming concerned about his health, he decided to make serious changes, and he has gone on to lose over 6 stone. I'm delighted to say that I'm joined now by Killian Byrne. And of course, you will recognise Killian because, as we know, one of the most watched programmes over the last 5 years or so is Operation Transformation. And you were one of their most singular successes, sir.
Yes, up until this year, actually. I was the leader who had lost the most amount of weight over the period of the 7-week programme. But David Cryan this year lost 3 stone 4.5 pounds, which is exactly what I lost.
Well, you're still the joint most successful. No, listen, share the crown, but always claim it if you can. Killian, for people who are not familiar with your background, give people a little sort of synopsis of who you are, what you are, and how you got to that state in the first place.
Yeah, I think anybody who's not familiar with the programme, I started off I filled in an application form in November 2011, and I was over 20 stone, nearly 20.5 stone.
No, you're not the tallest man in the world.
No, I'm not. No.
So you must have been... Does that photograph do justice to just how big you were?
Yeah, it probably does. My problem was that I never really felt that I was getting fat. And it's unusual when you see that photograph because I really just carried it around my waist, which is really dangerous. So it is. And I discovered one time in 2011, I was on an airplane and I couldn't fit the safety belt around my waist.
Were you mortified? I
was absolutely mortified, as the girl who was taking care of us brought the little extensions that they have. And there's nothing so embarrassing. You've got people on either side of you. And I never really saw myself as being overweight. I knew I was heavy. Every January, like everybody does, I said, I'm going to lose a little bit of weight here. And, you know, I'd probably lost about 14 stone, which is the same stone 14 times. But I always just went back to our general ways, which is what people tend to do when they're on diets, which is change their lifestyle and then go back to doing what they did beforehand, because they were getting fit for January, they were getting fit for summer holidays, or maybe they're getting trying to lose a little bit of weight for a wedding or some occasion. But then once you hit your target and then you stop, then you just go back to doing the same thing as you always did. And
so what was the catalyst, or what was the kind of the Pauline moment for you?
Well, outside of the airplane incident, my father passed away very young. He had his first heart attack when he was 45, and he passed away at 51 from a stroke. And I was approaching 40, and I had 2 young children, and I remember I was doing what was the intercert at the time, and I was a part of a one-parent family, and I grew up with just myself and my mother and my siblings.
And was he a heavy man?
He was, and he had diabetes, and he had heart disease, and there was every weight-related illness under the sun. And he tried his best, but it just caught up on him, so it did. And I wasn't going to put my children in that same scenario as I found myself.
Isn't it extraordinary that even with that family history, that it's only when it comes to doing it for somebody else that you really get your finger out, and you will do that for your children. You'll do stuff for your kids and your family that you wouldn't do for yourself.
No, absolutely.
Even though you knew the dangers yourself.
Yeah, but I think that's what people actually understand. When you make a success of these kind of things, people talk about finding out what your why is. Why do I want to do this? And once you find that light at the end of the tunnel, then you can say, that's what I'm working towards. And that can always be there. It can be a photograph on the fridge. It can be a list of goals that you want to achieve. But once you understand what your why is, that's what maintains my motivation to keep me going. Because
the why is the thing that makes you keep at it.
Absolutely.
And if the why is because you're doing it for people that you love, then they're the last people you want to let down.
There's no way that I can let my children go through what I did. Do you know what I mean? I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old now, and they are the best things in the world. And, you know, Keith is starting first year in school, and I was that kid. So I was. I played rugby, I had fun, and then all of a sudden there was a void in my life, and I can't let that happen.
How much weight did you lose in total? You went from 20 over. What was your worst?
Worst was 20.5 stone.
Okay, and
I'm now weighing in somewhere around 14 stone. I'm not particularly overly conscious of my weight anymore. I am aware of it, primarily through, you know, the notches on the belt and things like that. But, you know, I just have a philosophy on just to try my best all the time. sometimes my best isn't good enough, but then I will work again at it tomorrow.
But I mean, you just haven't done that and taken down the sizes, right? You've also gone and run, 5 marathons, 2 half Ironman triathlons. You've run numerous other races. You're a columnist for Irish Runner, for God's sake.
I know, yeah.
So you've become an expert on it.
Well, I wouldn't say an expert, but what I have managed to do is change my lifestyle, and that's what people talk about. It's the lifestyle change, and I have really embraced it. I'm lucky enough that I've had the opportunity to do this. We go out and we get to run. It's an opportunity that we really enjoy. You know, outside of all of the marathons, and I've managed to, I've been to New York, I've been to Paris, I've run Dublin, the half Ironman triathlons. But the best races that I run are the runs that I go out with my 10-year-old to the park and spend time as a father and a daughter. Park run on a Saturday morning at 9:30, 5 kilometres. I've got a 10-year-old who can run 5 kilometres faster than I can. You know, that's what gets you in there. That's what makes me as a father really proud of how Operation Transformation and the changes that we put in place have affected our family.
Well, now you are also you've been appointed ambassador to Sport Ireland's European Week of Sport, the Be Active campaign. So there's a load of things that you're doing, and you're passing all of this on because you go and you give talks to people, and you you speak at corporate events, etc., etc. But there's a thing that you want to talk about specifically. It's the reason you're here this morning, actually, is about Margaret's egg. So tell us about that, please.
Yeah, well, I think from our point of view, we, like I said earlier on, we're not concentrating on calories all the time. We try and make sure that we eat the best food and the best products all the time. Keith, when he came home from rugby camp one time, said, "Do you know, rugby players eat eggs every day?" And I'm going, okay, grand. Well, this is our opportunity here. Let's eat eggs every day. And we try and eat the best products that we can. And for us, I'm lucky that Margaret's Eggs, which is a really great company in Meath, they produce free-range, omega-enriched eggs. And if you see and you hear about Margaret, she practically, there's 200,000 hens she deals with, and she practically has a name for every single one of them. She picks them up and she cuddles them. And if you could think of the best thing that somebody could eat, it's an egg from a Margaret's hen. They're in shops nationwide, and if you could provide your family with anything, eggs are so versatile, full of protein. They get breakfast, lunch, dinner. They're there, and that's one of the things. Quick meals. Some of the worst decisions we make are quick decisions. If you have eggs, eat those.
Killian, it's a fascinating story, and it's an inspiring story, and people can go and check that story out on your
Absolutely, yeah, blog KillianByrne.com.
Okay, and best advice, if you want to do it for somebody you love, because you can't let them down. That'll get you started, but it'll keep you at it.